You're listening to Food for Thought podcast, and today I'm talking to Peter Newton, who I've just found out is from the north, so I'm very pleased, and listening to his dulcet northern tones. And he's just published a new book on Qigong and Tai Chi called Healthy and Fit with Tai Chi. Hi Peter, welcome today.
How do you do? How are you?
I'm fine. And just give people a little bit of a background about yourself, because I read in the book that you were originally a heating engineer and a plumber, and you've swapped over. So just tell people your journey into Tai Chi, because you've been in Tai Chi for absolutely decades, haven't you?
Yes, I'm 105 now, and I'm still going strong. My journey started really with poor health in the late 70s. And it wasn't helped by the fact that I was working as a plumber, plumbing and heating engineer. And those days, you didn't have knee pads on or anything like that. You'd actually just go straight onto your knees on the cold floor and be out in all weathers. And it was tough on the body. So what I did was, as a result of that, I decided I'm going to have to protect myself, look after myself, because I was getting joint trouble. I had been diagnosed with rheumatism even, and this was in my early 20s. So I thought I need to find something that's going to help me. My posture wasn't good either. And so my journey started really when I first saw a Chinese gentleman in his 90s on a documentary on TV. And I was absolutely amazed by how he moved. I was very impressed by his posture, his general coordinated movement, and the big thing, his balance. And it was that, and they said at the end of it that he was a Tai Chi master. And I'd never heard of Tai. I said, what's this Tai Chi stuff? What's this all about, So I started asking around and trying to, because there wasn't any internet in them days, so it was a case of just trying to find as much information word of mouth. And I looked to the martial arts schools to see if they knew about it. And there was a school which was not too far from where I lived, which had just opened up, and it's by a guy who'd come over from Hong Kong. He'd been trained in Hong Kong. And he knew all about Tai Chi. In fact, he taught it. So that was the beginnings. I got into the school and developed through the school and became a member of their even demonstration team. And they used to put demonstrations on. I was in the Tai Chi team, and that was within about a year and a half. I was actually demonstrated in public performances. So, but it made a big difference to me. My health, my posture, my breathing, everything. Everything seemed to sort itself out within that period. And I was so impressed by it, So that's where it started. That's where it came from, because my health wasn't in a good place at that time. And it was restricting me. And I was in my 20s. So hang on, I'm only just starting my life, and already they're talking about rheumatism, It had gone. It cleansed my joints, and that was the big thing for me. I thought there's something special in this, So that's where it originated from, I'd say.
So you actually started in your 20s, and this Tai Chi master's in his 90s. And most people, like myself, would have considered that actually Tai Chi is predominantly done by the elderly. No disrespect at all meant, but that's when I've really seen it. Yeah. Yeah.
That is the perception, but in China, trouble is in China now. I think there's still Tai Chi is practiced out there, and it is encouraged. Children are encouraged to practice their Tai Chi and the Qigong exercises. So it is actually through all the generations in China. But the perception in the Western world is it is only for the elderly. And it certainly isn't, because of the amazing exercise programs they have, the body mechanics, the breathing, the balance. And I was teaching professional footballers for over a period of time, where I'm still in touch with them, but I'm too busy to teach them now. I'm actually flat out just doing all the physical therapies and the health sciences that are coming out of Tai Chi. But they're all international players. They're fairly big names in the industry now. And I went to them because they'd heard on the grapevine at that time that Tai Chi was good for their balance. So I started teaching the international footballers like Man United, Celtic, two of the biggest teams in the UK. And they were quite blown away. Their own trainers were giving me good feedback when I was teaching them. Then they'd go back and show them what they could do. I was getting this constant feedback saying how impressed they were, you know. So any age group will benefit from it in terms of the balance, the posture, coordination, especially if you're a sporty type person. You find this is a real good balance for your sport, you know.
Now, of course, you've mentioned a couple of the teams there from the north, and I'm going to ask the question: have you trained Alex Ferguson?
No, but I've been through the mill with him. So Alex, he had me. It was a deadline I had to hit, which was I was about to go and teach one of their goalkeepers, Man United goalkeepers, and then he. For some reason, the trainer had called me in, but Sir Alex didn't know. And he was saying, because he didn't know, he was about to put the axe through it. And I had to fax, in them days, my CV, my certification, my insurances, everything had to be sent off straight away to him before he'd allow me to go near any of his players, you know. But whatever I sent him, and it was a deadline, so I was rushing like mad trying to get this stuff out. And got to him anyway, and then it sort of, a whisper came back, yes, it's okay. That was it. Oh, I went, thank God for that, you know.
He's not a god for no reason.
Oh no. You know, I mean, you can see my hands shaking as I was feeding the paper in the fax machine, you know, knowing who it's going to, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm all for that, to be honest. You know, none of us think he's done anything wrong, probably. Now, give me a history of Tai Chi and Qigong more, I think, because that's the lesser known one from my perspective.
Yeah.
So just give us a little bit of a potted history, because I know it's got quite a...
Qigong, recent scientific discoveries made by the archaeologists in China have discovered that Qigong itself, which Qi means energy, Gong means skill or actual physical activity. So it's exercising your Qi. That's what Qigong means. And it's the main medium is physical movement and breathing combined. So it's coordinated body with the breathing, fueling it. That's all about health. So you go back into Chinese history. We now know at 7,000 years, the latest discoveries are saying that this system that was being practiced in China. We always used to say, we teachers in the Tai Chi and Qigong world always admit it's a 5,000-year history. And we used to be thinking, wow, that's good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Telling people it's 5,000 years. Now we know it's 7,000 years. And who knows what other discoveries, we could find that the dinosaurs were doing it for all we know, you know, eventually. Yeah. So in essence, it's an exercise program. That's what it's all about. You go back and you go through exercising, breathing, coordination in your movements. So it's a discipline for your health. So 7,000 years ago. Now we come to around about 1200 AD, and from all that foundation of knowledge appeared, mixed with the knowledge that was already, the martial arts knowledge that had developed with the Shaolin in the temples in China, the Shaolin priests, which, you know, the warrior priests, which you often see them on TV, don't you, performing. Yeah. There was a particular guy called Chang San Fang, and he is known as Chang of the Three Winds. Now he devised the system of what was a martial art, and still is. It's still practiced in lots of places. Tai Chi is known as Tai Chi Chuan, by the way. The art in the Western world, we like to abbreviate everything. So we thought, well, Tai Chi Chuan takes me a while to say that. I know we'll say Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is what's commonly known as this art, which in China they call it Tai Chi Chuan. So it means grand ultimate boxing. So that's its actual name. That's what it means. So you can see it's boxing. It's a martial art that came from this knowledge that has been built up over these thousands of years of body motion and breathing, plus their martial arts. And what happened, this one guy combined the two. He combined all that health skill and health knowledge and posture knowledge with the martial arts. And what came out was this Tai Chi Chuan. So that's why Tai Chi Chuan on its own is very good for your health, because it has this sort of a hidden core in it, which is all this Qigong knowledge, you know. So, but nowadays they seem to be looked upon as two separate entities. You've got Tai Chi Chuan and then you've got Qigong. But they're in fact so linked, they're like brothers and sisters, you know, like twins. They're so closely linked together in terms of the mechanics and the breathing. It's all the same in both, you know. But one is practiced as a martial art, the other one is practiced purely for the health and science. So that's potted it, that's pretty much it, really.
Right. I went off to learn Tai Chi. I used to do a lot of martial arts at one stage, and part of that was that I went off to do Tai Chi, and I didn't learn it. It wasn't sedate. It wasn't. We were being taught it as a martial art at that point.
There you go.
Yeah. And that's what surprised me when I showed up, because I thought I was going to be doing something completely different.
Completely gentle and soft and light and fluffy.
Yeah. Well, I was quite happy.
Over the years, I've had martial arts guys who've come to my classes who expected it to be just this gentle, light, soft, fluffy stuff, and only to find that when they actually apply their knowledge on me, as in they'll say, "Can I try to see if I can push you over? Can I try this just to see?" You know, and then they find they're sort of falling on the ground, and they bounce off me and fly across the room, and things like that. That comes as a big surprise. And these are guys who got black belts and varying degree levels. There's a few still with me now who trained with me recently, you know. But I don't throw people around like you used to with this Tai Chi knowledge, since I had a car accident and it damaged my neck. So I find that was a catalyst which threw me into purely researching Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong as a standalone health science and physical therapy. That was 2007 that happened. So since then, that's exactly what I've been doing, actually. Working and developing those as a physical health science for the physical body, but also for the mind, because I've been carrying out a lot of work. Still am work in the mental health field as well.
And, you know, I didn't realise that Tai Chi and Qigong are basically one of the most common methods for healing sickness and you know, basically, maintenance of the body in China.
It is, yes. I mean, it has been, like I say, for thousands of years. It's always been known for that. You know, they have these practitioners. They're called Fang Shi. Fang Shi. They're known as prescribers. And they weren't prescribers as in take the pill and take these pills and come back in 7 days, see how it is. These were posture people and mechanics and motion and exercise. They'd prescribe your body to move in this way to get yourself physically or mentally fit again. And that's what was that's what was out there back in thousands of years ago. That's what was the norm in them days. It was they knew move the body to relieve pain. Whereas in the Western world, nowadays they are beginning to say this: move your body. Now, if you get a bad back, at last the consultants and all the doctors now that you go to say, well, you need to sort of move around a bit now and join an exercise class. They never used to say that 20 years ago. They say, well, have bed rest, lie down, do nothing, take the pills. You know. It's totally flipped upside down. It's gone the opposite way now. Western world has caught up with the idea that if you have a physical problem, you need to physically move your body, you know.
Yeah.
And thus the ancient Chinese saying, move pain, you know, as opposed to sit there and hope it will go away, you know.
Well, you're preventing the stagnation, aren't you?
Stagnation is what it's all about. I used to be a plumber, and on the odd occasion, to my horror, I would get a job come in, which would be, so-and-so's got blocked drains. Could you go down and clear the drains for them? I go down with the drain rods. Well, strangely enough, I'm doing something similar for humans now as a full-time pro. People get stagnation in the body. That's a blockage in the body. So I help them clear it. I know, the way to move the body. Linked to your breathing and motion, and it clears stagnation. So I'm a blockage clearer, in that sense.
So would you work in tandem with a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner?
Well, they would be like traditional medicine. If you went to traditional medicine practitioner, they're likely to show you certain movements anyway. If they've been trained correctly, if they've got their full TCM, it's called, they've got their full TCM certification, that means they'll have been trained in Qigong. So they don't need me to go in to work alongside them, because they're properly trained and hold the certification, that you'll find that they already understand certain movements that they would show. They do say acupuncture or acupressure, say, therapy. And then they would say, right, do this and do that, these movements now when you go home, and do this 2 or 3 times a day, and that should clear it for you. So that type of person would already understand that. What I do is I actually just allow the public to come in, and I then, into my classes, I work, as I said, there's other places I work, which I specifically go in, and I work as a physical therapist with this unique knowledge of Tai Chi and Qigong body mechanics. I think that's the difference between me and even the TCM people, is that I've gone much deeper into it, in the physical joint movements, posture, and how I'm linking the breath to the joint movements and physical postures. I using that as a therapy to clear blockage in joints, and for like arthritis is blockage, for example. Cancer is blockage.
Yes.
Even Parkinsons is blockage. Yeah. So I will bring people in to, people come to me for specifically to teach them how to clear the blockage that's causing them all these problems. So I tend to operate at a different level in respect of the depth I go into now with the body mechanics.
That's really fascinating, to be honest. You've taken it from one thing. Are you effectively the specialist then in the UK for this now?
I'm unique. I know for a fact nobody else does what I do, which is why more and more people are demanding my attention. And this is the busiest I've been. I turned professional in 1998, and this is the busiest I've been, without a doubt. Since this book comes out, this book has been such a catalyst for opening people's eyes and making them realise that self-help is the way forward. So I'm getting lots of business coming in now, lots of new inquiries coming in, and I'm almost reaching saturation point at the moment. And I've got to be careful how I balance it all now,
It's all about balance.
It is about balance, yeah, and that includes me. Because if you come and train with me, you realise it's a passion to me. This isn't just something I do, This is actually a passion. And the reason why it's a passion, because I do it for me. I live it and breathe it and practice it every day of my life, and it's keeping me. I'm 60 now, and I'm still physically, in fact, more physically fit than I was in my 20s, and I'm physically able to do stuff, and long may that continue.
Fantastic. And are there different styles of what you practice? So of Tai Chi Chuan and like martial arts?
Yeah, there is. I mean, in Qigong, there's different patterns of movement, lots of different patterns, but they don't tend to call them styles. So Qigong is like Qigong on its own. You get Qigong, and within Qigong, you get lots of different patterns of movement, different breathing methods, and that all come under Qigong. But you go into the Tai Chi Chuan, then you got what they call the 5 families appear. And you get the 5 different styles, like in the Western world, the Joneses and the Smiths and the Clarksons and the Wilkinsons, and also you can imagine 5 different families who specialise in their Tai Chi martial art. Well, those five styles appear, and yet there's the same thread runs through them all, and they're all interlinked in a sense. They all come back to what they call the standard. So if you think of it, in the midst of these 5 different styles of Tai Chi, there is still one thing called the standard. And the standard, as you'll see, there's a chapter dedicated to it in the book called the Tai Chi Classics. And the classics are, I call it the instruction manual, how to practice Tai Chi Chuan correctly, if you stick to the instruction manual, it also teaches you how to stand, sit, bend, stretch, breathe, move your body generally, you know. So that's it really. That's where it comes from. It's these classics that pull the 5 families together, you know.
Right. I have to say, I thought the book was fascinating. You know, I like I said, I've done martial arts in the past. I did it for a long time, and I did kickboxing. And one of the few books that actually got me out of the chair and testing something. What I tested was I had a respiratory issue, and since I've moved to Northern Ireland, and I had a frozen shoulder for 18 months, and I've never really got, although I've got the movement back, I've never really had the strength there. You actually got me out of my chair testing cloud hands, I have to say. And I felt a very big difference quite quickly. And I practice yoga and tend to walk each day. And suddenly what you made me realize is the health promotion aspect of this, that practitioners like myself, and I'm trained as a naturopath, you know, we wouldn't say to sit, we would see stagnation as well, but actually, you know, we would look at rest and relaxation, but actually I suddenly saw the actual benefit of adding something like this to my practice of what I do, which is why I was asking about the TCM side. I thought it was absolutely fascinating how I experienced that difference, and it was only about 5 minutes of work. So you can see that discipline. You were talking about discipline earlier, you know, the discipline of the exercise program over time. You see why people live to beyond 90 doing it.
Well, they do. I mean, that's the thing, that the ones who actually run, it's called the middle path, the ones who run the middle path and have this as part of their lives, they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is they stretch the body and open the sinews and allow the circulation, what they call the chi, to flow then, which has been like lying still overnight. These people, they live it and breathe it. It's called the art of living, because they apply all this knowledge and wisdom that comes with these arts into their everyday lives. So the ancient Chinese called it the art of living. The physical side of it, where you physically move your body, you know, I'm going to open a cupboard. I actually open the cupboard by lifting my chest and lifting my elbow. And then, you know, cupboard door. And then I close the door by lowering my chest and dropping my elbow. And that's just doing that, I've opened my shoulder joint and improved the circulation through my shoulder joint and improved the circulation between my torso and my arm. So every physical thing you do, you know, brushing the carpet or something, or vacuuming or something like that, you know, you get your right posture, it becomes therapy for you. So that's called and I call it healthy living form. Healthy living form. So your body's in good form, and by doing so, you'll have healthy living. You know, keeping your body in good form, and that applies, as I say, to everything you do in every day of your life. You never. They still ask me when they come in the classes. You know, say, how often should I do this? You know, how often should I practice my Tai Chi? So, well, how often do you want to be natural? Do you want to be natural for 10 minutes a day, and then the rest of the time unnatural? You know, you want to be natural, move with these shapes and mechanics that I'm showing you. That keeps you natural throughout the whole day, you know.
And I love the quote in the book about you die healthy.
Die healthy. Absolutely, yes. The ancient Chinese view of life. Die healthy with a smile on your face. As opposed to the Western way, where we just sort of, you know, degenerate gradually, and a lot of sickness then kicks in during the most important times of our lives, which is when we go to retire, to enjoy we've worked hard all our lives. We then go to retire, and the body then starts to fail them, you know. And a lot of it's because they've not had the good posture, they've not been exercising correctly, or not been exercising hardly at all. Been stressed, that they haven't been able to control stress, they don't know how to release stress in the body and mind. So, and they get to retirement age, and so many don't have a healthy and long retirement because of it. And this stuff will assist you to do it. It'll take you right through a long retirement. And your ultimate goal is, as the Chinese would say, die healthy at the end, you know. Almost like flicking a light switch, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you outline in the book at the end some of the research that's actually been done and which I thought was really interesting. I know there's a significant body of research, to be honest, around TCM over in China that the Western medicine don't really acknowledge. But you explain about the increases in serotonin in the blood, therefore it's helping depression, and that obviously improves Parkinson's pictures. And you talk directly about supporting Parkinson's. Now, I have a number of clients who've got Parkinson's. Just talk about what you do around that, because I think that would be very beneficial for them and others listening. Yeah,
well, I'm the Flincher Parkinson's group Tai Chi therapist. I think that's generally how they describe me. I'm also known as the health whisperer as well. That's gone round there. That's whizzing round at the moment. But what I've did, I turned up at this group, and the group is now from the initial group I turned up to, just to, because they think when they say, we're bringing a Tai Chi man in, and when I turn up, they then expect me to just go through, the soft and gentle slow motion movements of Tai Chi and that sort of thing that they've seen on the TV or whatever. Only to find they're blown away when I start telling them exactly what's wrong with their body and what they're experiencing with the posture that Parkinson's is creating in them. And the symptoms, what symptoms that stooped posture, as it's called, will create in other parts, like referred pain, etc. And then they're going, how does he know all this stuff? I mean, he knows. How does he know that about me? And you can see a big question mark appears above their heads. So I turned up with my brand, which is this middle path, deep, meaningful therapy method of Tai Chi and Qigong. And the group has tripled in size, and still they come in. And they come in. There's always new coming in every week. So it's a huge class I'm teaching there now. And the reason why they're turning up is because even though it's a large group, I'm specifically going in to individuals, and I'll show them exactly what they should do to combat the symptoms that the Parkinson's is creating. I was scoffed at, by Parkinson's UK when I initially approached a regional Parkinson's group, and they couldn't believe. And I said, I believe I could help you with your tremors. And it was almost like, how could he do that? The disbelief. And I went into this group and I said, right, and I specifically targeted one guy who I could see really bad tremors in his hands. And I just said, right, this is called cold chi. This is cold chi, also known as heavy chi. They call it cold chi, but they also call it heavy chi. And I said, all right, let's go into the heavy side of it. And I basically, if you have a look in the book, it's called earth posture, or earthing or earth posture. It's that shape. When they stand in that shape and breathe out, the tremor stops. And then they can go home and experiment with it, and they can play with it. And any time they want to break from the tremor, they just create the shape of earthing posture. And it was like they were scratching their heads. We've never seen that before. And he's actually shown us how to control the tremor now. So it actually did happen now, and it still does now. When I go every Thursday to the group, and I anybody who doesn't know it, who's new, comes in, I show them straight away. Right, this is how you do it, and they're all doing it now. They're all starting to breathe and create the right shapes, and they're finding that is helping to control the tremor that is very annoying to them. If anybody's got Parkinson's out there, they'll know what I'm talking about. So annoying. But I've also, there's a symptom of Parkinson's, which is the jerky body, I call it. The body jerks all over the place uncontrollably. And I blew the minds away when I walked over to this particular lady for the first time. They accept it now. They say, oh, yeah, Peter does that now. When I first did it, they were all like, wow. She was standing up and jerking, banging her arms against the walls, and I thought she was going to injure herself here. So I went over to her, and I just placed my hands on her head, and I earthed her chi. And as she calmed down, instantly, her arms dropped, her body went quiet, and she stopped jerking. The body stopped jerking round. So, and I taught her husband to do the same to her now, so that when she reaches this peak, to place her hands on either side of her head, and then just breathe out with her and bring the chi down from the head and bring it down to her center. And that's basically what I was doing, and it worked, So there's no reason why people who know how to do this stuff can't be showing other people, and that's why that's why I wrote the book. I thought that this is something that is cutting edge, that the people like the NHS who do a marvellous job considering the strains they're under, but they'd be frightened to death of doing anything that's outside the box, whereas I'm prepared to go outside the box to show them what the ancient Chinese could do with this stuff,
I found it interesting working initially with Parkinson's clients, because what I saw when I was watching them as they would obviously talk to me about their case. So it's about an hour and a half with me first of all, if not 2 hours. And I could see that at certain times they could control it. And they didn't realise that they could control it. And they said, I have this all the time. But to me, it became very obvious that actually they didn't have it all the time, and that there were certain triggers happening within the system that were actually making it worse and then making it easier for them. And I think that when you're obviously in it all the time, it's a bit like a goldfish bowl. You can't see out of it.
No, and, difficult for them. They are looking through, it's trying to get them to I actually tell them, make your mind master your body. Don't let your body master your mind. And, instruct your body from the mind. Tell your body, no, stop doing that, do this instead. And train your mind to be strong inside that body, which is actually wanting to do its own thing with Parkinson's, And they have a thing called switched on, switch off in Parkinson's, and when they're switched off, I think off, I always get mixed up with on and off. Off to me means that they're out of control. They can control it. On means that they have a certain amount of control, But when they're switched off, there's very little you can do because they freeze, for example. I teach them how to walk and get the circulation down to their feet and get the proprioception in the body, because Parkinson's people are very high risk at falling. And then suddenly you can see one of them suddenly go bang, and they'll freeze. And all you can do when that happens is lead them off the floor and sit them down, but they can't move. So you have to literally almost carry them off the floor to sit them down when it kicks in. But then the brain will switch back on after a while, and then they're back up and running again, So that's the sort of things that they have to put up with, But there's lots of different symptoms that they have to experience, that they experience it with Parkinson's disease, and it is an awful thing, and I feel so sorry for them. But I've got a range of things. I've got this, what is 7,000-year history of understanding the physical body and how it works and how chi works within the body, etc. And I'm able to apply this to them, and it's helping them so much. And that's why word and mouth, it's getting around there, come in, because this is quite revolutionary what he's doing here. And there is a Parkinson's doctor in there. He's a qualified doctor who has Parkinson's. And he called what I was doing. He came up to me and he whispered in my ear, "This stuff is a revelation," he said. Then he turned around and shuffled away. I mean, and I was like so pleased, because that was like the Western medical fraternity accepting what I was doing, I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, and you talk about the NHS. Are the NHS accepting of what you do?
Oh, now they are. It's because this chapter I've dedicated to the research that's been carried out. When you hear Harvard Medical School and the extensive research they've been carrying out, and various other reputable institutions around the world now are carrying out research into the breathing mechanics of Tai Chi and Qigong, and then they're applying it to groups, and they're having a group that will be practicing what they'd say the normal exercises and treatment that they'd give them, and then they'd compare it to a Tai Chi group or a Qigong group. And without exception, it's the Tai Chi and Qigong group are getting the best benefits from it each time. Now, what's happening is the Western medical fraternity are reading their journals, because all these results are coming out in the journals. Yeah. So never in my career since 1998, as a professional doing this, have I known like, for example, the NHS open up to this like they have done, Even though I'm a persuasive guy, so I've managed to I've been working now for many years as a cardio rehab therapist, with the Tai Chi and Qigong, and that was via the Flintshire Rehab Unit, and also Macmillan's cancer support group. I had to go through an interview with them, and I ended up being a Macmillan therapist with them, and they were referring people to my class in Chester, So that's happened years ago. But there's always been a reluctance to open up the doors to what they call complementary. But Tai Chi and Qigong now, and this was in the National Physiotherapist magazine about 12 months ago, where they say Tai Chi and Qigong now is actually looked upon as mainstream. It's not even complementary now. It's an accepted, powerful therapy in its own right, But that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all this research that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And also they can't ignore the fact that, you're talking about the proprioception and balance. Yeah. And in effect, they actually, in the elderly, a hip fracture is actually quite serious for them because it's shown that it kills 1 in 5 eventually.
Oh, it's shocking. It's shocking. I mean, it's falls, and this is a whole new world. Falls prevention. There's a big county council. I won't say who they are, in case other people go rushing in and trying to beat me to it. I'm already in with them. Big county council in England who are really interested in what I'm able to offer in respect of prevention of falls. As is this Dr. Marco Arcastine, who's the biomechanics lecturer from Aberystwyth University, who came up to see me. This is all because of my book, by the way. And he spent a day with me, and now he's confirmed back he wants to be working with me, and he wants to introduce his PhD students to me so they can learn about posture and balance, and he's interested in working with me on a prevention of falls program. We were saying initially for Wales, but, why Wales? Why not the whole of the UK, So prevention of falls is a particularly strong area for me. I've been working on that for all this time. I've been a pro. I've been developing it and looking at the assessing postures, because I'm a structural engineering background. So I understand, because after plumber, I then went on to become a construction technician in the construction world, and eventually became a construction manager. So to do that and to get my qualifications, and I had to learn structural engineering. So I look upon posture and motion as structures rather than just physical movements, and that's helped me understand posture and balance, which is why Man United and Celtic were interested in speaking to me, because of my knowledge on balance, and posture. Well, that's massive. Prevention of falls is massive at the moment in this country.
And you can't ignore how posture has a massive impact on health. When people come through the clinic door, I am looking at them the whole time. I'm looking at the way they're breathing, how heavy their breathing is. I'm looking at the way they're sitting, whether they're going over to one side or the other. And, like yourself, I'm over the years, my tutor said to me a long, long time ago, you will be able to tell a lot by the time they've just come and sat with you. Yeah. And I thought, gosh, I'll never get to that point. But often I will say, what's going on down that left-hand side? And because it's very, very obviously, and then they'll outline all the different bits and pieces, but you can see it's affecting their long-term health.
Absolutely. Well, what I do then is people come to me and they walk in, and I said, did you know you've actually got a slope on your shoulder? Your right shoulder's lower than your left, and did you know your head was actually leaning off to the left? Or did you know your your right knee is turning in, but your left knee is turning out. So you must be walking around in circles with that sort of posture. So they're fighting against themselves just to move, a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
So I know how to open up the hips and the knees, and how to correctly align the feet, and how to get the heel to toe action going, how to position the pelvis, and all that's come from all the years of working in all the deeper aspects of Tai Chi and Qigong, you know. It's the position of all the intimate joints of the body. And that's the first thing I do, is I look at posture. It's the very first thing I do, because posture equates to health. So good posture, good health; bad posture, bad health. And that's accepted in the Western world as well now.
I know when I first trained in martial arts, the instructor, the very first instructor, I've trained with a lot of people over years because I move so often, and the first one, all he had us doing was breathing and standing for about half an hour, and I absolutely hated him, if I'm absolutely honest. I was young at that point. Nowadays, I'd be probably grateful for the break, but at that point, I couldn't understand. All we wanted to do was get in the dojang and fight, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But he had us do everything in absolute slow motion, which was almost painful, but he was absolutely right, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Because when you move, the question to you could all, you know, I'm often asked, why do they move slowly in Tai Chi and Qigong? You see, like the people in the parks doing Tai Chi, why do they move slowly? Because as soon as you speed up, your muscles tighten and the tendons tighten. Joints tighten, circulation starts to be disrupted. It's being sluggish. Your circulation is then fighting through tension in the body. You move slowly and move with the breathing, so they've got the breath fueling the motion. And they call the frequency of motion. You hit the right frequency. It's just natural circulation through relaxed joints. That's how your body gets healthy. But when you tighten your body up and do all this muscle, it's putting your heart under so much pressure, damaging to the heart, in fact. So I keep saying slow is the new fast. Remember you heard it here first. Slow is the new fast, you know. And they will. You might not be for another 10 years, but I've been saying it for about 20 years now. Slow is the new fast, and slowly, I think the world's changing. They are beginning to realise that.
Well, I think it's of its time, if I'm absolutely honest. I think we've gone through this whole cycle of life is so full and busy. I think you say about overfilling your plate, you know, in effect, I think we've overloaded ourselves, and I think this is why these forms are now starting to come into our Western society in the way they are, because we're looking for something different. We're looking to ease ourselves through our life. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think I'm in terms of knowledge and wisdom, I think I'm peaking round about the right time, where Westerners are opening up now. We are opening up. I'm a Westerner, so I'm one of you. You know, we are opening up to this. But if say we're only 20 years ago, say. The Western world had opened up, I wouldn't be able to demonstrate the depth that I can now. I could demonstrate it and show great benefits, but the knowledge I've got now is much deeper and more intimate in terms of how I can help individual problems in the physical body, you know. So I think I'm peaking just at the right time now with my knowledge and wisdom, and writing books, you know, because this is my third book I've written. Writing books makes you research. It makes you ask the questions. You know, I asked my teachers, my Chinese teachers, questions, deep questions, meaningful, that most of their students don't ask, you know. But because of that, I've built up this knowledge. That's how I've acquired the skills and the knowledge, you know, because I've been cheeky enough to ask the questions, you know.
And the quote I was thinking of was, eat less, taste more.
Eat less, taste more, without a doubt. Absolutely. And by going slower in life, slow your life down, but then move through a natural, relaxed body, and then you can use the body. The body will then last long, and this is where we come into long. Because the ancient Chinese, this is through research and listening to my teachers, to live long, you need to breathe long. You need to stand long. You need to sit long. You need to walk long. And move generally. It's general move long in your life. So add that together, and they say you will live long. So long, and then you said, what's the definition of long? It's all about posture. It's posture in when you're physically sitting still, when you're standing still, and posture when you're physically moving your body. Stand long, moving long, keep your posture upright, open and relaxed. These are the three things: upright, open, and relaxed. And then you can move your body, and when you speed the body up, you're not actually bulking it up with unnecessary, excessive muscle that is then putting pressure on your heart. So when you do need to move fast, you find you move like a gazelle. You don't move like a tank, you know? These are things I'm trying to get out there even into the sports world to let people know, you know. And I'm actually, as I say, new things are kicking off at the moment. I'm starting this week at what they call an elite dance studio. And so I'll be teaching them about lightness of motion and how to elongate the tissues of the muscles to get the best out of the body, get more motion and fluid motion out of the body. It's also a health and fitness place as well. So I'm coming with a totally different, a refreshing new way of looking at how to move the body, you know.
Now, you mentioned in the book about the subliminal power of the shapes you're creating with these arts. And yeah, do you want to go into that and the meaning of some of them? Because I know, you know, art is
I'll
symbolism.
give you some examples. I'll give you some examples. This just off the top of my head, because I do it all the time. I'm teaching people all the time. An example: a lady came up to me in a class near Chester week before last, and was having emotional problem in the class, as in like I think before she got to the class, she was feeling depressed. I think she suffers from depression. And she said, and this is new, it's a new class, by the way, because if she'd been with me a long time, she wouldn't have asked. She would have already known. So she came to me and said, what can you do to help me with my depression, because I feel awful today, you know. So all I did was, if you have a look in the book, you'll see there's heaven posture. Mm-hmm. The one where your hands are raised to the heavens, you lift your chest, you lift your eyes to the sky, and we call it looking at the moon, as if you're looking at the moon. And it opens the whole body up, and it lifts the energy up, and it refreshes the brain. It opens up it brings all that extra oxygen into the body as well. It's a great refresher for the body and mind. So I said, just try this, and now breathe in, and then relax down, and then rise again and hold it. And she did that, and so there was a big smile on her face, and she was fine the rest of the session. There was a spark in her eye, and she was fine. So that's an example, and I do this in the mental health world, where people are coming in, I can see they're a bit depressed, so I'd get them to stand like this, just try this posture. And then you can see them change, and then next thing you know, it's gone. You can see they're actually feeling a lot better. So the power of heaven posture is a mood shifter. Mm-hmm. It lifts your spirits, it lifts your energy, and it can, you know, transform you from this sort of feeling down about life into a feeling like optimistic, and, you know, this is great, I've just won the lottery feeling, you know. So there's that one. The other one is Earth. There's Earth, the one I said, which is the one I show for control of tremor. It's the opposite effect. If you're finding you've got the monkey mind, it's Chinese call it the monkey mind. That's where your mind won't shut up. It just keeps going, you know, and you go to bed at night, your mind's still running on, and you find you're almost hyperactive with it, you know. You need to stand in Earth posture. Earth posture, in Scouse land we say, all right, calm down. You know, and when we press the hands to Earth, we Scousers, we know everything. Press the hands down to Earth, and that's how we'd say calm down. And that's Earth posture, ancient Chinese. Earth posture. You press the palms down to Earth in this Earth posture. It has the effect of bringing the chi, this hyperactive chi, which the Chinese call the monkey. It calms the monkey down. It brings it down to your center, which is just below your belly button, and it earths it out through your feet. So an Earth posture for calming, a heaven posture for uplifting. So there's two examples of, you know, how ancient Chinese postures can actually physically, and are being used now. People are actually, you know, applying this. They're taking it home and they're doing it, and they're helping them control their lives with it, you know. Amazing.
And you make a really valid point in the book about, you know, when it's taken years to damage your body, it's going to really take quite a lot to unpick that, and it needs discipline, doesn't it? You're not going to change things overnight, but you can see change quite quickly with this, can't you?
Chinese call it kung fu. Kung fu. Now they think kung fu means we Westerners think kung fu is somebody leaping through the air and kicking and punching and doing all these Chinese martial arts. Kung fu means time and skill and patience. That's what it means. It's acquired skill through time and patience. So acquired skill through time and patience, and that's what you have to have if you've already got a serious health issue. You apply this knowledge and apply these skills and these therapies that we generate in the Tai Chi and Qigong. But then you have to have the skill, because some of these are skillful things you have to learn. You then apply time to that and be patient and think long. So you want to live long, think long. It's this back to long again, see? If you think short, as in I want a quick fix, it doesn't work like that. Think long, and by thinking long means you will, and it might take, for example, if you've been dogged down with 30 years with serious arthritis or some other, physical health condition, and you've had it for all these years, 20 years or whatever it is, you'll find it will take years to put right. But it won't take the same amount of years to put right, but it will still take years. And I'd say typically a couple of years will put most conditions that can be arrested, will put it right within a couple of years. But people get instant relief from the first time they start doing it. But if it's a long-term, deep problem they've got, allow a couple of years of practice. But after 2 years, you find your life's transformed, But that's the thing in China. They will do that. They'll get up early morning and they'll discipline themselves and they'll practice their exercises and they'll do it during the day and practice. We, in our Western busy minds, we would try and fit it in when we can, And we've got to change our thinking. We've got to become more self-help, self-sufficient, and build it into our lives, and think long. Then think in the long term. If I practice this now, within 2 or 3 years from now, I will know I will be much improved, and I won't have the same issues then. So that's my message is out there. Think long. Don't think quick fix when you're practicing your Tai Chi and Qigong. But once you've gone long, it resolves so many things that would go on to become quite serious,
Peter, this has been a fascinating interview with you. I feel like I've been talking to a true master of their art. And how do people find out about you? Where are your contact details so that people can get in contact and inundate you? Right.
You get hold of me on through my website, which is chinabridgetaichi.co.uk.
Okay, and how do people train with you, like myself, for instance, who practitioners who will have heard this? I know people will have heard this and thought it's very interesting to add to their practice. How would someone like myself train with you?
Well, I've just run a weekend retreat on Anglesey. So, I mean, for example, if and I've got a lady who's one of my students. She lives in South Wales, so she comes all the way up to from South Wales to North Wales to train. Another chap comes from Wiltshire, who's one of my students who's now a senior student of mine. But he would travel up from Wiltshire. Different people travelling from different parts of the country. That's gives you like a full quite intensive weekend of experiencing this stuff. But then if it was just a day, to go to like a weekly class or something like that, you'd have to. It depends on where you live, really. I mean, if you're in North Wales, stroke Chester, Wirral, you'll find you can find me. I have classes running generally throughout, and you can find me and come and train with me directly with me. But I'm a teacher's teacher. I train teachers up to teacher level. So I have other teachers who are peppered throughout. So you can go and train with them, and with them you can come along and train with me on occasion. I do thing called workshops as well.
Fantastic, Peter. Now known as the Health Whisperer. Sorry, say that again.
I say it's all on the website. Where the classes are, they're all on the website. Access to the book itself is you can buy the book from any reputable bookshop anyway. If the book which is Healthy and Fit with Tai Chi, Perfect Your Posture, Balance and Breathing. That can be obtained by Findhorn Press, F-I-N-D, Horn, H-O-R-N, Findhornpress.com. They're the publishers. So they'll do a postal thing direct to you. You can do it from a website. You can buy the book from a website. And there's an accompanying DVD that I've produced as well, which is Healthy and Fit with Tai Chi, the DVD, which expands even more. You see more visuals then of what's going on, and it tends to link in with the chapters of the book as well.
Brilliant, because that was one of the biggest questions I had. Was there a DVD with it?
Yeah. So, there is a DVD, and I realised that a DVD would be useful, and I'm selling quite a few of these now. Yeah. And, the book, and I call it the combo, because they work together. They seriously work beautifully together, the book and the combo, and the DVD as a combo. They provide you with so much information, and people I know, they go, I've even heard, they're all around the UK, because I work at Warner's as well. I work everywhere, by the way. Warner Leisure, that's where I'm known as the Health Whisperer more than anywhere else, because they actually advertise me there as the Health Whisperer. And people have been buying my DVDs and my books and stuff from there, and they turn up every week, and they're from all over the UK, and they have formed like little coffee mornings where they put me on the TV, and they all then get up and join in, and they all have a go. So I'm actually teaching in many places, I've heard, all around the UK, without having to teach, which is good. That's a good way of earning a living, I think.
Absolutely brilliant, Peter. Yeah. Oh, it sounds like you're changing the world with the art of living.
Art of living, that's what it's about, because I live it. I live the art of living, It's I was working in the business world, and I was working it up to 1998, and I decided that'll do me, and I jumped out. I jumped ships and went into this full time. And to me, I've just been having fun since 1998. It's been fantastic. I'm being paid a living to do it,
Doesn't get any better than this, does it?
Doesn't get any better. Absolutely. I'm loving it. Yeah.
Peter, it's been fantastic to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming on Food for Thought.
All right. Thanks very much. Lovely to speak to you, Deborah.